Hey Facebook, it is Natasha coming to you from Milwaukee. Sorry about the interruption. I was doing a live and got interrupted in the middle of it, so I do appreciate you holding on. I am super excited to be on with you on Instagram and on Facebook, and we're going to talk about the number one thing that you forget to plan for each and every day. Now, I am in Milwaukee, and let me know where you're coming in from as you hop on. But as you notice, I'm in long clothing, not only because my husband and I fight over the thermostat. Hey, Lauren. Oh, thank you, girl. But because I also decided to start our 60-hour reboot much earlier, just because I felt up to it and I felt willing to take on the challenge a day early. So the reboot, if you don't know what it is, it's a supported fast, and it's part of the 14-day challenge that is going on right now. We're on day 7 of this challenge for the month. It's actually our 10th month doing this challenge, and for me coaching this challenge. And this live is actually going to be based off of one of the mindset posts that I dropped in there, because it is very important, and I think with it being a Sunday, that a lot of you could actually use this information. So let me know if you love this information. Drop me some hearts, and if you find any value from it, go ahead and share it out. So we're going to talk about the number one thing that you forget to plan for each and every day. I bet you cannot even put it in the comments. Happiness. We forget to plan for our own happiness every day. A lot of people ask me, with all of my autoimmune diseases and neuromuscular diseases, how I'm such a happy and positive person all the time, which is not, I could never say that it's 100% of the time, but I would say it's a good 90, if not more, percent of the time that I'm actually a very happy, positive, and I would say, just overflowing with this is like the 10th video I've done today, so my brain is a little fried. What's the word? It'll come to me. But anyways, so bear with me with my words with Tasha and communication, obviously tech problems too. But the thing that, we forget to do is plan for happiness. We either think that we have happiness or we don't. And that's a misconception. That is a clear misconception, because it's a habit. You have to actually make time to plan for it and train for it. It's something that you need to develop into your daily routine. That's why I made it such an important part of being our mindfulness activity and mindset activity for this 14-day challenge. So, between work, life, kids, relationships, and responsibilities, we forget about ourselves, and we put other people above ourselves. Hey, Nancy, thanks for jumping on. And so, take this quote into consideration. Good natural gas, gold. It's supposed to be gold. Gosh, I wrote notes for once. Gold, natural gas, and your attention, they're all scarce resources. Allocate wisely so you can max time for pleasure. So you can max out time for pleasure. So gold, natural gas, and your attention are all natural resources and scarce resources. Resources. This is what I did at my wedding. Can you believe it or not? Hey, Mikey. Allocate wisely so you can max time for pleasure. So you can max out your time for pleasure. So again, like I said, many people think that you either have happiness or that you don't. They don't believe that you can actually control it, but you can. You can control it just like your health. And that's one of the things that I do as an optimist. That's the word that I was looking for earlier. So definitely an optimist. So you can control happiness in your life, and I've got some tips and tricks that I'm going to shout out at you, and you can kind of pinpoint off of those tips, and if you want the detailed list, put details or deets in the comments, and I'll send you the list typed out. But you have to control happiness. And I recently came into contact with a few people from overseas. One of them had myasthenia gravis, and another had been diagnosed with lupus, and her lupus was very mild. And she was very scared, because you look on WebMD, of course, and you start searching what could happen, with all of these different diseases and illnesses. And it's just this list of all of everything that could possibly happen, and you get overloaded. It's like looking into a keyhole. And so, that's not going to help you, because that's going to change your attitude. That turns you more into a pessimist rather than an opportunist or an optimist, because you're so concerned about what is going to happen during the meantime. But we can't plan that far ahead. We have to plan ahead, but we don't know where we're going to go, but we can set our intentions on being good. So for me, for example, I had this horrific car accident, with a construction truck hitting me last year, which resulted in a 3-level cervical fusion. So I have that going on top of the autoimmune and neuromuscular disease part of it. And then, a traumatic brain injury, of course, because of it, which is why Words with Tasha has become a commonplace. But now I'm facing, complications from the fusion and the accident that are going to require me to have further surgery because I'm having difficulty with my hands. So if you've noticed, I've been posting less. I've been doing more voice messages. I've been misspelling things a lot. I've been not showing up on lives and doing a lot of videos. That's the reason, because I can't always show up in the best way possible in order for me to communicate, because of the traumatic brain injury, but also because of the injury that I'm going through. Nancy, I will send you those details. I did see that. And so, a lot of people look at me and they're thinking, geez, you have all of this going on and I only have one thing, and here I am, like, horrified and worried and concerned. But, you look at others and you realize that you don't have it as bad as they do. Well, that's not true. It's just that I choose to look at it, that it's going, that there's a plan in place. I have hope. I have faith. I have faith in the universe. I know that this is meant to happen in my life. This was happening for me, not to me. One of the ways that I can relate it to a lot of you is that the fact that I believe it gives me a message to actually share and reach out to a lot of people that have become silent because of their illnesses or because of their shame that they might be hiding behind, because of, whether it's self-confidence or maybe it is health related or wellness related, or perhaps even relationship related. But I've been able to give a voice to that, and I've been able to speak out and help a lot of people because of it. And I choose to do that. That's really what Live Life by Design is all about, is about serving other people and trying to help them through their life's challenges, because nobody's challenges are worse than another's. That's not the thing, to go around comparing to. So you can't compare yourself to other people. So if you want to be happy, the number one thing would be to stop comparing yourself to other people. The only time that you should be comparing yourself to anybody is if you're looking to grow yourself and you're comparing yourself in order to personally develop yourself. And so there is benefits to comparison, but it's in a different light. It's obviously in more of an optimistic light. It's for self-development. Hey, thank you for so much for jumping on and all the hearts. And so, that's the biggest thing, is that we're playing the comparison game, especially today with, social media and a lot of people still locked down, staying indoors rather than, going out and being social. We've become a little bit less resilient to what we hear and what we say. But if you think about it, it's never been any different. It was just spread through a different message. It was keeping up with the Joneses, the people in your neighborhood, back in the 50s, versus today it's social media, and there's thousands and hundreds and millions of people that you can compare yourself to, that you easily have access to. But look at the benefit of that. You know, I have access to helping people and speaking and learning from people overseas. So there is definitely a benefit to that as well. And that's been significant. So stop comparing yourself unless you're looking to personally develop yourself. Oh my goodness. So I am working off of a tablet that is not mine. But I'm trying to make it work. So make happiness your goal is going to be my number 2. You have to make your happiness a goal. And I need to say this because a lot of people don't give themselves permission to do so, but you have to prioritize yourself because you can't be somebody that's trying to pour a full glass of milk out of an empty cup. You can't help other people like your children or your husbands or your wives or your spouses or your partners without having your own cup full. So you do have to prioritize yourself, and you don't have to cut happiness out of, that prioritization either. Nancy, thank you so much. You are so sweet. I appreciate you, girl. If you don't mind, could you share this to the chat group? Number 3, define what makes you happy. What makes you happy? What makes you joyful? Is it, if you're running into things where it makes you frustrated that you have to do every single day, like say doing dishes, is it really that big of a deal to get somebody's help? Or can you have somebody come in to do your dishes for you if it's that miserable of a task for you? Or even your laundry, can you have a laundry service do it for you? You can find a lot of these very inexpensively, and you have to think about your time cost versus somebody else's time cost. So, I think about my rate per hour versus what other people would be charging. And my rate is always going to be much higher than anybody else's time because my time is precious. And so, hey, Jenna, thanks for jumping on. Oh, you're so sweet. So, you have to make yourself a priority, and you also have to define what makes you happy. Define what makes you happy and define what does not make you happy. Try to find solutions to what doesn't make you happy so you have more time to find things that make you happy. For me, it's being creative, and also, gardening I love. So you've seen some of those posts. I also love, my husband and I love movies and laughing together. So we watch a lot of comedies. But we also just love, talking about things like this and having a conversation and being around a community of people that support us and what it brings to our life. So, if you don't have a community, hey, Michaela, thank you. And if you don't have that type of community, drop community in the comments because we need to get you in a community that you feel supported in and that can make you happy. And another tip, just based off of that fact, if you are a part of groups that you go into on Facebook or on Instagram and you start seeing yourself comparing yourself to them, or it really makes you cringe and unhappy, there's no harm in deleting that group or uninviting yourself, unliking that page, doing any of that. That is going to save you so much time. You don't need that energy in your life. So number 4, after you define what makes you happy, prioritize it. Of course, that makes sense, right? So every day we have this task, we run through all of our tasks, our errands, our shopping lists, everything that we need to complete in a day. First thing in the morning, that literally runs through your mind, especially if you're a wife or a husband that has kids, or anybody that has kids. I don't know why I said wife and husband. That's not the words I was looking for, but, you need to prioritize happiness as well. So planning things out afar will make you happy. And, implementing small things, even if it's just a simple note. Maybe, set a reminder with a simple love note to yourself to find throughout the day. That would be a huge thing. Or one of the things that people do for New Year's is write a bunch of different positive quotes or notes, reminders, and put them in a jar. You could do the opposite. Put a bunch of stuff in the jar and pull out one each day like a fortune cookie that reminds you, to be happy and puts you on point. Number 5, savor the small things. So as we age and as time goes on, we realize how precious our time is. Going back to talking about our time, we realize how precious our time is, and we start to savor smaller things, like friendships that have continued, or connections and networks that we've developed, or, even just, outside of career goals, your family life, being able to spend time with your family, having a Saturday where you don't have to do any errands or chores, and being able to, just literally be mindful and be present with your family. That's a huge one. And so savor the small things. Number 6, ration your time. You have to ration your time. And I will tell you, this is one thing that I struggle with, because there are so many things that I want to do and that I can do. And I have my limitations now, and I'm going to have my limitations very soon. And it's been difficult. I'm not going to lie. It's been difficult thinking that I'm not going to be able to, move my neck around even as much as I am right now. I'm going to literally be locked in place, and you're going to laugh your butt off at this, but I have this idea that after I have my full cervical spine fusion, that I'm going to be walking around like Arnold Schwarzenegger with like a bodybuilder neck that I can't move. And so I'm so afraid about that, because I love dancing, and I can't do it right now because I'm too unstable to dance. And I'll be fused, by the time that I can dance, but my neck's not going to move. So what am I going to look like? So, rationing my time has been like one of the things that has come to my mind recently. And I've just been trying to accomplish all of the things that I want to do before my life changes. And I have to realize, just like many of you, that, things happen in our life and we have to accept them. Number 7, think happy thoughts. And I know that sounds silly, but if you're in a bad mood, there's no shame in going to looking at puppies on Instagram, or looking at cats on Instagram, doing whatever that makes you happy, or talking to a friend. Even a forced smile can spark a change in your brain to make you feel happier, and it starts to set off those hormones and endorphins and that happy, cheery vibe. And so, that makes a difference. Listening to music, that's why listening to music can actually influence our mindset. So, think happy thoughts. Number 8, buy some happy. So don't underestimate the small things in life, the life experiences even. So I'm not saying you have to go out and spend a bunch of money on this extravagant, organized event. Say it doesn't have to be a cruise. A cruise. That is the right word. It doesn't have to be a cruise. It doesn't have to be that you go out and buy a full new wardrobe. It doesn't have to be that you send yourself to Cabo or wherever you want to go. But plan for future events, because planning for future events and life experiences do make a huge impact. And even that anticipation makes an impact on your outlook in life. Who doesn't get like senioritis or like vacationitis when you have something that you've planned ahead and have to look forward to? So if you've actually seen many happy people, you'll notice that they have things planned in their life ahead of time, because they know that they want those experiences, and that way they're planning themselves. They're setting themselves up for success, and it also makes them happy in the meantime. Number 9 would be play around in love. So in your relationships, change things up. If you haven't spoken to a friend in a while, give them a call randomly, see how they're doing, even if you haven't talked to them for years, especially if there's someone that you really miss and had been disconnected with. And also in your personal relationships. So, with your spouse or your partner or your boyfriend, girlfriend, you can mix things up in the love world. Try different things. Number 10, prepare backup plans. So just like me, I always prepare told you it's going to be words with Tasha today. Might as well shake these shoulders while I can, right? So prepare backup plans. Man, I'm going to keep doing this. It's going to get worse. At least I'm speaking better than I did at my wedding because all of the words were reversed. And then I started crying and I laughing at the same time. And I was crying because I was laughing so hard and I couldn't stop. My husband wasn't too attuned with it, but my family knows that I have that issue. I have like a nervous laugh, cry, and so I tend to do that. Oh, thank you so much, Nancy. I appreciate that so much. I can't tell you how much it touches my heart to, speak with everybody every day and actually be a part of that community and, see everybody grow. So prepare backup plans I was talking about before my mind dragged off. So I always try to think of alternate scenarios and alternate solutions. So I am a product designer and that's all about problem solving. So, I think of myself like a PI, a data analyst, a problem solver, kind of like an inventor actually. I am an inventor actually, but I try to come up with solutions for anything that happens in my life at that moment, and I try to go through all of them. So my husband's not very good at this. He suffers from bipolar and also anxiety, and so he doesn't handle stress very well, and he doesn't have the coping mechanisms I do. So I help work him through the steps of what we could do in case and alternates and things like that. So that's been beneficial to have some backup plans. So if there's something that's going on that you're worried about, say like, returning a computer or them not accepting the computer and then taking it to a different store so they accept the return, backup plan. 11, find purpose and pleasure. So obviously me sharing this information with you is my huge honor and pleasure, and it is part of my purpose as well. I always laugh because, I thought I was brought onto this earth to actually do medical device design. Originally, I wanted to be an automotive designer because I just loved cars, but then as I developed and matured, I realized that I could make such an impact in the world by working on medical products. So I went into more of the medical product design and product device management, and that was my dream job. But as my health kind of changed and I was getting surgery by the equipment that I've worked on, I started to realize that I had a bigger purpose in play here, that I had more knowledge and more expertise to help other people go through difficult times, and also just, coach them a little bit, nudge them, and be there to support them. And so that is my purpose and pleasure. But you need a mix of joy and sense of meaning. You need that joy and sense of meaning in your life to be happy. So I would say that's a huge tip on my chart. Number 12, think less me time and more we time. And that responds to social relationships. So a lot of people that tend to be introverted or extroverted. So a lot of people would think that is it extroverted? Oh, what? Okay. Well, you know what I mean. A lot of people, I do have a little bit of an introvert quality to myself, but I am more of an outrovert, extrovert, whatever it is, myself. But my husband, he thinks he's more of an extrovert, but he's actually kind of a mix. He's more of an introvert. He doesn't, he'll go into a situation and then find himself being an extrovert, but it takes a lot of energy out of him. And that happens for a lot of people, especially people that are speaking to a lot of people at the same time or in a large group of people. But your social interactions, whether it's one-on-one or a small group of people or a large community, can actually impact your happiness. They actually say that successful people that are happy tend to have a big network and a large pool of connections. It doesn't matter whether they're acquaintances or friends or, best buddies or anything like that. It just depends that you have them. Number 13 would be go off the grid. So, sometimes leaving the phone behind. I do that quite often. That's why I leave my notifications off, actually. I leave my phone on silent. I've got my watch for messages if I need to and for calls, but I keep my notifications off on all of my devices, for Facebook Messenger, things like that. So if somebody needs to get a hold of me, they always know to text me. But that is how I go off the grid. And sometimes I just leave all of my technology and devices behind. The same thing could be said for screen time. So it's just like with your kids. Why should we monitor our kids' screen time and not our own screen time? And that includes movies, TV shows, things like that. I mean, can you believe that the average American watches 4 hours of TV or movies every single day? I mean, after COVID, I want to know what the numbers are. I didn't do the research, but I am so curious what the numbers are now, because I can imagine that seriously got impacted, that number. But also going off the grid, and planning a trip. It doesn't have to be technology related. Go off the grid and plan a trip and go somewhere new. Just by putting yourself in a different location, you can get a little boost of happiness that way. Number 14, be nicer. Just be nice. And not only to other people, but be nicer to yourself. I'm going to start bringing back Trash Talk Thursdays, because a lot of people are just not as nice to themselves as they don't talk to themselves as friends. They talk to themselves as a parent or as a guard or somebody that needs to discipline. We need to be nicer to ourselves. That is extremely important, but we also need to treat people with respect and be nicer to other people. I cannot believe the amount of people that don't even smile or say hello when I say hello as I walk by them in the store or, anywhere else. Like sometimes I'm just sitting at a stoplight and I'll wave because, so everybody's so focused on what's ahead and where they're going and what's going on in their mind, and they forget that there's other people in this world. But just being nice and doing a few good gestures can boost somebody's mood, let alone like if you implement something to pay something forward, paying for the groceries for somebody that's behind you, or buying somebody a cup of coffee, or sending a gift, or even just writing out a card. That is so rare these days. So just be nicer, and that includes yourself. And yes, you can do that for yourself too. Give yourself gifts. You can write yourself notes. You can do all of that for yourself. Number 15, make Sunday Future Fun Day. I love that idea. And that's actually what brought me to think that I should share this on Sunday. So, every weekend, make plans for your next weekend if you don't already have plans, and plan out the full day. You don't have to have, the exact moments, but have an idea of, say, 3 things that you want to do the next weekend. And that way you're not just sticking to the mundane, like ordained chores and errands and things like that, because a lot of people put all of that off until the weekend. And I can tell you that by just doing one chore or one errand every single day, what relief that can bring to your weekends, because who doesn't want to spend time with your family, your friends, and doing things that make you happy? And finally, I referred to this at the beginning, but we're going to go over it again because it relates a little bit differently, but it ties in. Dump any plans that were supposed to make you happy, but don't. If you joined a book club and you don't read the book, you pretend to read the book, or you listen to the audiobook and you don't like talking about it, you don't have to keep going. Hey, Joshua, thanks for jumping on. You don't have to go to it. You can actually say no. And the thing that you might be hearing more of lately is no is a complete sentence. You can say no to things. I definitely want people to say yes to new things and to going out of their comfort zone, and people actually developing themselves and trying new things out. I mean, as long as they're not committing to something that's overcommitting themselves or trying to overachieve. But you can say no. You can say no to a lot. There should be a lot that you're saying no to, actually, and you probably aren't. And I know that was one of my hardest things to learn throughout my life experience so far, was to say no, because I am a people pleaser. And it's not only that, it's because I want to do everything. Even back in high school, my husband laughs at me because I actually did track, cross country, cheerleading, danced 6 days a week, and taught, and also did, what else? I wanted to be in soccer, I wanted to be in volleyball, and I wanted to be in diving, but I couldn't do all those sports all at once. So I actually didn't even practice with the cross country team. I would go out, and right after school, I would do my own run for cross country. Then I'd go to cheerleading practice. Then I'd go to dance, and then I'd stay there, and I'd get home at like 10 o'clock at night. I have no idea how I made it through high school, to be honest. Like, I loved high school, but I loved all of the activities. The activities were my life, and thank God that I did them then, because things change. But, I didn't do any homework, but I definitely loved, by the end of high school, I will say that I was okay if I, got grounded or was forced to stay home for like a day, because yeah, I needed some time. Like, I needed to be withheld. Like, people needed to tell me not to burn my candle at both ends, because I definitely was. So say no to more. And I think that's really it. Happiness isn't going to show up like a pizza delivery. It's not going to show up on your doorstep. You have to work at it, and you have to build habits and working on it in order for it to come to fruition. So don't expect it to just show up the next day, but you can start implementing small steps like, smiling or being nicer to people, or, just saying hello to somebody and changing their day, or, leaving something on their desk, or, whatnot. Like, once I came to my corporate job, and there was a Be Kind bar on my desk, and I never found out who it came from, even though I ran around looking for who put it there, and I never found out, but it was actually a very nice, sweet gesture. And so, you need to take action before that happiness is going to come in. And again, as we age, we really realize how fleeting time is. We do. And so we start to, it does start later in life that you start to realize how precious moments are, especially if you have kids. You see the time go fast with them. I don't have kids, but I've seen other people's kids grow up, and it's just incredible to see how fast they grow up. And you realize that you also need to take advantage of how much time that you have, which is one of the reasons why I don't work a corporate job anymore, because I wanted to live life by my design. I didn't want to live life by somebody else's design, and it wasn't bringing me as much joy. So, things change. So just implementing these small steps each and every day, just considering them, thinking about them, and keeping it on point and being mindful is actually going to you're going to relish in happiness. I promise you. So again, if you want that full list, go ahead and put details in the comments, and I will send that out to you. If you found any value in this, go ahead and share it out. I know it was kind of a hot mess of a live, but bear with me. I'm a couple videos in already from speaking and recording today, but I do appreciate each and every one of you, and I am so grateful that you took the time to listen, and I hope that you took some value away from it. If you have a friend that's going through a difficult time or could use a little bit more happiness, go ahead and feel free to tag them in it or send it to them in Messenger. And if anybody needs anything, I'm always open to messages. I never cut anybody out. I am very open to speaking to whoever needs my help, and just, communicating and building up that community. So again, if you don't have a community, make sure that you drop community in the comments, and I will make sure that we get you engaged with people that are supporting you and cheering you on. So I love you all, and I hope that you have a great Sunday night. Have an amazing night and live life by design.